Okay, so we are going to look at what it takes to translate here. Most of our time is spent sitting at our desks or at the kitchen table with our friends and language helpers here, studying the language, listening to it. We'll get recordings, we'll come back to our desk, we'll type those recordings out, we'll re-listen to them. The nice thing about studying language here is we have a lot of freedom to choose our method. Some of us like to just type out everything we've listened to. Some of us prefer just to listen to it, or some of us even just prefer just to talk it. So the different styles of learning that you get to work with those. So I'm going to be sitting here at my computer. We're going to translate this little section of one of my favorite videos in Papua, and actually in Indonesia as a whole. I'm going to be typing here on my goofy looking keyboard. This is one of my favorite things about this desk, because in Java I had to type only on my computer keyboard, and my wrists don't do well on that. The funny thing is the Indonesian language has a lot of the A letter. The A letter is really common. So this pinky that always has to type the A, it would get so sore because of all the A's that you had to type. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and just listen straight through the entire recording, and we'll see if we can understand what's being said.
Dinias, kau sudah besar. Kau jangan nakal ya. Kalau kau nakal, burung di sana bisa makan kau. Betul itu. Yo, itu sudah. Tapi kalau kau belajar yang rajin, pintar sekolah, burung di sana takut sama kau.
Okay, so what I can tell from this initial listen through is I can tell, even if I couldn't see her, I would know this is probably a lady from this island, because she's using some of the abbreviations or short forms of these words that we use basically only here, that I've been able to find. And we'll talk about that in a second here. So let's just jump right into it. So first things first, I'm going to go sentence by sentence, and I'm going to write out what she says. And during our first stages of language study, we don't repeat, we just listen. We're only trying to listen, trying to hear sentence breaks, word breaks, and trying to get the intonation, all that stuff. But now that we've been here longer, I like to listen, and then I like to try and mimic exactly the sound, try and make the same sound as her. Of course, it's a lady, so it's going to be a lot harder than with my guy friends. So we'll see. Let's get into it.
Dinias, kau sudah besar.
Okay, so first thing she said is Denias. Obviously, that's the boy's name. Ko sudah besar. Denias, ko sudah besar. So what she's saying is, of course, Denias. Ko, that is the abbreviated form for you. In Indonesian, we have formal and we have informal. So there's actually a lot of ways to say you. You could say Anda, which is formal. That was what you would say to maybe your boss. Kamu is less formal. That's what maybe you would say to, like, in our other island, in our first place, you would just say that to your family and friends. Kamu. And if you're here on this island, you'll say ko, which is like really short form, dipping into Papua Malay. And then if you're reading the Bible, it won't say anda, it won't say ko, it won't say kamu, it'll say engkau. And that's often used for the more religious, like if you were talking to God, you would say engkau. So there's a lot of different ways to say some of these words, but here ko is very common. So ko means you. Sudah, that is the word for already. Besar, big. And Indonesian doesn't have tenses like we do in English, thank goodness, because tenses are super hard. So the way that they're saying this is you are already big. Ko sudah besar. So you are already big.
Kau jangan nakal ya.
Ko jangan nakal ya. Ko jangan nakal ya. So what you said is ko, you. Jangan, that is the word for like do not or don't. So if a kid's throwing a rock at my window, I'm going to tell him, jangan, right? And that means like don't do that. Don't. Nakal is the word for naughty. Yeah, and that is just a word for confirming, like right, okay? And the funny thing is here's a good example of a word like nakal. It means naughty for like kids. We know that she's talking to her son, so she's saying naughty. But that word can mean other things too. So it's kind of, you have to be careful. Sometimes you can say something you really did not mean. Let's continue.
Kalau kau nakal, burung di sana bisa makan kau.
So I don't know if you could hear the different word breaks in there. She spoke pretty fast. So she said kalau ko nakal gunung di sana bisa makan ko. See all the A's? There's so many A's in this language. So she said kalau, we know that is if. Ko, we know that as you. Nakal, that means naughty again. Gunung, that's a new one for us. That means mountain. Di sana, over there. Bisa means like can be done. But in this case, I think what she's trying to say is will, because it can also be used to say like will. Makan, to eat. Ko, you. So, kalau ko nakal, gunung di sana bisa makan ko. What she's saying is, if you're naughty, that mountain over there is going to eat you. I love some of the legends here. It's so fun. All right, let's go.
Betul itu. Yo, itu sudah.
So she said, betul itu. Yo, itu sudah. And that again would be another hint that this is from Papua, because she's using these little phrases that they're almost a little childlike, but what she's saying there is betul itu, which means correct, that, yes, that, already. So what she's trying to say is like, believe me, it's true. Betul, correct. That, itu, yes, eat that, already. So maybe if you weren't used to the language, you'd be really confused there. Correct that. That's simple, but yes, that already, that's a little confusing. Let's keep going.
Tapi kalau kau belajar yang rajin,
Okay, let's take this sentence and let's break it down. Tapi kalau kau belajar yang rajin, let's keep going.
pintar sekolah, di sana takut sama kau.
Okay. Kalau kau belajar yang rajin, pintar sekolah, gunung di sana takut sama ko. Okay, so what you said is tapi. Of course, that is that means basically but, like or. If, kalau, you belajar, study. Yang rajin, yang is like what is or that is. So anjing yang besar, the dog anjing, yang, that is, besar, big. So if you study, that is, rajin is a word for diligent, or like if you work hard, essentially at it. Pintar, smart. Sekolah is pretty easy, even for an English person. That means school. Gunung is mountain again. Oh. Di sana, over there. Takut, to be afraid of. Or scared, we can translate. Sama, with. So sama would be like, saya makan pisang sama coklat. I ate bananas with chocolate. So in this case, he's saying scared of you, essentially. So, tapi kalau kau belajar yang rajin, pintar sekolah, gunung di sana takut sama kau. If you study diligently and you work hard at school and you're smart, essentially, the mountain over there will be scared of you. So what she's saying is, if you're naughty, the mountain's going to eat you, and if you're not naughty, then you'll be powerful and have power over the mountain. And it sounds very funny to us, but I mean, how many stories have we heard about, if you don't go right to sleep, the boogeyman's going to get you, or something like that, right? If you don't go to sleep, if you stay up, Santa Claus isn't going to bring you any presents. So this kind of a thinking it can be funny out of our culture, but inside of our culture we have similar stuff too. So that's kind of it. That's what it looks like for us, and I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of a peek inside the boring times of study that we don't show you guys in these videos usually. So enjoy.